Oh, that's not right at all. I had a picture of the Excel icon over Drew's beautiful face. We can't hide that god tier hair.
Or we could.
Nah, man, you gotta give the people what they want. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us, and welcome to Firing Range, a podcast to talk about all things Destiny, weapons, abilities, loadouts, and the sandbox, and Drew's hair, and Cammy's beard.
Hopefully,
maybe it's Maybelline, maybe it's not. Maybe we get the sponsor.
You never know. We'll put it out there. We'll put the vibe out. DMs are open. Get at us. Well, anyway, thank you very much for joining us. We are recording on Wednesday, May 19th, for those of you who don't know. And we are 1 week into the new season. There's a ton to talk about. We will have Merc joining shortly. He's probably making a cracked spreadsheet right now that I'm sure we will look at later.
He's in the nerdery as we speak.
In the nerdery.
I hope he appears when we need him most. We like form the spreadsheet summoning circle.
Yeah, true. If we talk about like bloom and cones enough, he might just pop in. He might materialize. It's like the nerdy version of Bloody Mary.
If only there was someone to break down these cones.
Oh God.
Dude,
which cone is which?
We'd have to, but we also additionally have to make sure that we mention stompies and like taking skill and bastions.
Oh yeah, we bait him in that way. We're like, yes, the movement skill gap in Destiny is supreme. I have my stompies glued to my feet. Anime profile, a picture equipped, everything's ready to go. I am the epitome of skill. Then you're, dude, actually.
I'm about sick of it, dude. And we can wait for another day, or we can just hash it out right now. Like, I'm ready
to hash it out, cool guy. If you guys want to hash it out, I'm done hashing it out.
Oh, we got stuff to talk about.
There's so much to talk about, though. I know.
Oh man, it's bad timing. There's always stuff
let's
to
save
talk
it for another day.
We'll save it for another day.
Yeah,
oh, believe me, we will save it. We're not trying to contain cool guy. Only maybe delay it. God, there's so much to talk about. So how are you guys finding 30,000 foot view? General, very, very generally. How are you feeling about season 14? Don't all jump at once.
I'm not sugarcoating.
Yeah.
This is season of the new gear I can't really use because other things kind of make it redundant. I try to use the new stuff, and then there's a DMT or a 120 flying at me with a shoddy.
I mean, maybe for newer players, there might be a lot of stuff on the table that they're like, oh, cool, like I don't have something to fill that role yet. Definitely a lot to tinker with. Some of it I'm really enjoying. But yeah, I do feel that way about a lot of things, Cammy. Drew, how do you feel?
Like I like it, right?
Okay.
I'm content. I'm happy. I'm not like losing my mind, but there's a lot of cool weapons and a lot of cool gear, like a large amount, incomparable, I think, to last season, and a lot of interesting weapons, a lot of really cool, interesting perks. So that excites me a lot, and that keeps me playing. And I want to get these weapons. I want to use them. I want to try them. I want to talk about them. So that's awesome. As far as like, I guess, activity-based content, it's like, kind of samey. That's not what matters as much to me. The weapons are
right.
front and center, like holy grail to me. But as far as like activities, yeah, kind of samey.
You getting tired of picking up a moat and dunking it into a thing and collecting things to put into a thing and upgrade your thing and
Death Heals Primeval, boys.
It looks cool when I'm doing it.
Yeah.
What I have to say on that.
Cool guy, how do you feel? 30,000 foot view.
I think that the activity's okay, right? Because I mean, the activity is the catalyst for a lot of our gear. I think it's better than Vex Offensive, and I think it's right in between Sundial and Menagerie to me. Because like if you get like a 6-man team, like the Moon this week is very, very good. And depending on when you're listening to this, it could be later. But like with this, if you have a stacked team, you can do the first damage phase, run through the corridor, go do another damage. Like you can get it done in 10 minutes or so.
Sure, yeah.
And that's ideal for me. The weapons are off the charts good, I think. From Grid Skipper to the Epitaph to these Iron Banner weapons. Like all of them are really good. And for me as a player, one of my soul driving things is chasing gear. A lot of things in the game, you end up getting an okay roll or like a god roll or something, and then you're pretty much done. With this, like there's about 3, 4, 5, 6 plus weapons. I'm looking for very specific things. It keeps me very entertained. So I'm enjoying it.
Good, man. Good to have opinions all over the board. Well, this will be a really interesting conversation because I wanted to dive in with all the new weapons we have to tinker around with. And we're not on complete opposite ends of the spectrum, but it would be nice to hear from Cool Guy and Cammy, sort of opposed, not tremendously. Cool Guy feeling like we got new hotness here, and Cammy feeling like maybe some of those roles have been filled already. Why don't we go really general with the weapon talk? Cool Guy, give me like favorite 3 weapons that we got now, brand new or recreated from whatever. Right now, season 14, go.
Favorite 3 weapons.
Favorite 3.
Let me go bring up some of my
Sure.
Grid Skipper.
I've heard a lot of people talking about the Grid Skipper. A lot of people. I finally got to try it out. I got a couple of fairly good rolls. You know what? I'm gonna let you get through your 3 before I comment on each one. I'm gonna let you go through.
SHIRA's Wrath.
Okay, good pick.
And I guess I don't know. Like it's a big tie because I really like Chroma Rush. Like for a 720, it's kind of a weird deal with those auto rifles. Like that one's crisp, man. If you get the right perks on it.
For sure.
I just got hung Drew with Firefly, and like that's a rabbit hole you can go down. That's like nostalgia versus expectation versus reality. Like it just gets weird.
Could you TLDR it? Is it living up to the hype?
For hung jury?
For hung jury, yeah.
No,
because I know a lot of people are. It is not.
It's not. I mean, that archetype hasn't been touched in 2 years.
Something
right?
similar from a couple of other people. Yeah.
So, I think that the Iron Banner sniper is actually pretty good. The finality.
Sure.
The zoom's kind of weird, but I mean, you get a lot of big benefits for your magnetism and all that. It's not good for all maps, but the artifact's insane. Like going into that, it makes the weapons better. Like breaching clear. I don't know. And then, of course, we have Vault of Glass coming too with all of its weapons. So,
yeah, we're gonna hopefully save that for another day because, oh man, that's gonna be a real fun talk. All those fog weapons, but yeah. Cammy,
Top 3 as well?
Yeah, give me your top 3, sure.
Okay, so just to like reiterate, there's a lot of new gear. I want to use it in PvP and try it out, but it seems like some of the old meta pain points make it impossible. So it's like, cool, I want to use Grid Skipper. Slide around a corner, domed on Steam on PC. So it's like back to 120s flying in the air at a weird angle because they have the range to do it. But favorite weapon so far, the Cryothesia sidearm. That thing pipes. It's excellent. Very, very strong. I would put it in S tier.
Wow,
it has a lot of utility.
And real quick, it has an adaptive trigger, so it fires on release pull, just like Devil's Ruin. So it literally it's stable. It feels like it has 100 stability, like 100 recoil direction. Well, actually, it has 100 recoil direction.
It even feels like it has inner accuracy. I mean, I aim for the body, but they almost all land.
There's no view kick with that sidearm.
Because I've gone really hard on Devil's Ruin. When I play Trials on Stadia with Cammy, shout out to Stadia, I've been going hard on Devil's Ruin to the point where it used to feel weird, Cool Guy, where the trigger, it just feels different, right, from other sidearms because it will shoot on release of the trigger. But because I've kind of like built up that muscle memory on the trigger, I had a lot of friends who were like, the Cryothesia feels weird. Feels good to me, man.
It's great.
It feels good. I like it.
Yeah, I'll get into specific combos later, but just know that that gun has a lot of potential, if not the obvious surface level things.
Right, sure.
Next one would be the new grenade launcher ignition code. It's a kinetic, and it can have slide shot.
Good call.
That's new because you can double tap. Yep. One at the start of the slide, one at the end of the slide.
That's fair.
And then from there, this is just an old favorite. It's not really good. It's stochastic variable. You can argue that it's not optimal whatsoever, but a 600 RPM that's lightweight, it's just fun to use.
That's fair. We can get more into that later because I have a couple things to say about that. But Drew, come on, give me your top 3 here, buddy.
Top 3. I think very obviously for me, Survivor's Epitaph. I love the 180s.
I definitely wanted to talk to you about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that one's at the top for me.
Sure.
Otherwise, I want to say I'm very interested in the Uzume sniper.
Yeah.
It looks really cool.
Really like that.
Looks
I think
really
it has
cool.
some. It's cause like I think it got snapshot demo. It's an adaptive. It has really great stats and has access to the suite of perks or mods for the obviously adept weapons.
Yeah.
That will be really great. I'm not sure about like my third. I want to reluctantly say SHIRA's Wrath, like.
Why reluctantly?
It's goated, dude. Its stats are so goated. You can't deny it.
Yeah, that's a great gun.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna say Wristwalker because I was really looking forward to, and like I was needing a lightweight shotgun. I always have a lightweight weapon on me at all times, and I needed a lightweight shotgun to pair with Sunshot, and I didn't because Hawthorne's was Sunset. So now, I got one. Forgot about that, so I'm gonna put that in my top 3.
Yeah.
So not SHIRA's Wrath.
Man, dude, I have a. Wow, you just triggered me, Drew. I have a memory from long ago. I think we were practicing for an event that I don't think you want me to bring up. A certain Guardian Con tournament sponsored by a certain controller. Promo code Fallout, 10% off your Scuf order. And we were warming up, I think, or before that, I think we were playing hey, you want to 1v1? Let's warm up each other. Let's just run some 1v1s, which were really funny. And I had a great time. But one of our 1v1s, you changed your loadout, and I think you put on the Hawthorns, and you just rolled me, dude. I don't know what it was. And I hadn't fought a lot of people using that gun at that time, and I was like, damn, just kind of it's like I just got rolled by a goddamn Canadian with a lightweight shotgun. How do I feel about life right now?
Y'all will never know the joy of bringing out tractor cannon in the old days. And everybody being like, oh, it's a meme weapon. And then they get repelled every time they get in shotgun distance.
God, I love that weapon. Anyway, Drew, I really wanted to talk to you about the Survivor's Epitaph, which, if you don't know at home, is the 180 RPM hand cannon that you get from playing PvP. And I kind of thought right away, I was like, first of all, I was like, 180, they haven't really been doing it for me. But I had that thought in my brain that, I know Drew is really keen on the Raid 180. So it's like, well, let's check up what the Epitaph can roll with. And I was looking over the rolls. I was like, some of these are pretty good. And even though 180s, when I'm playing on M&K, I don't really feel it. I'd rather use something like the True Prophecy or whatever. But on controller, the 180s feel terrific, and I finally got one to drop. Been playing a buttload of PvP. Got one to drop with kill clip and pretty good range. And dude, that bad boy is rock solid. I was really enjoying that in PvP.
Yeah, dude, I love it. I think it's amazing. I kind of had that moment where everyone was like, oh, yo, new Crucible hand cannon, it's got to be a 120. Oh, they said on Twitter it's not a 120. Got to be a 140, right? Because we got so many 180s, and everyone's like,
right,
wow, 180, are you serious? And I'm like, again, the Mida catalyst,
you had a Mida moment.
Try not to look too happy,
yo, that's your third weapon right there. Is the Mida enhanced.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Mida. Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Oh, yeah, have you been popping off with the new Mida?
I love it. Yeah, I love it. I'll talk about it in just a moment.
Sure.
But yeah, so I was secretly very happy about the new the Survivor's Epitaph. It gets some phenomenal rolls. I think it's very comparable and just as good as Posterity. Posterity has a better base stat package, lesser good perks. This one has slightly lesser stats and then much better perks. So you get normal kill clip to get the 2 crit, 1 body. You even get multi kill clip so that you always have a non-resilience bar 3 tap to the head at the least if you like to chain and reload right after you get the kill and not worry about the timer and playing with that so much. Kind of decide between those two. Slide shot's phenomenal. It's a free +20 range. You can get up to 60 range on that base. Add a free +20 on that. So you get 80 range, and I don't see a time where you shouldn't be activating that most of the time. You get high cals on this one, which is disgusting. Because man, we talked about sometimes it feels bad that with the 180s you have to kind of hope they miss.
Yeah, and sure.
With high cals, dude, a lot they can definitely miss.
You're tripping them up a little bit.
That tag me on Twitter that good players that I faced, they're like, dude, I can't shoot straight. That's ridiculous. Because when I ran some tests with posterity, it was already comparable to 140 range. It was like slightly less. Sorry, not range. Flinch. Slightly less than 140 level flinch, and with high cals, it's like right there with one. It's like you're getting shot by a 140 essentially at like a high rate of fire. So it's super annoying and obnoxious. So like that's great. Yeah, it even has a surplus is excellent on it. I kind of started running surplus with Fellwinter's end of that and 6 Coyote, so I essentially always had for surplus max turned on. And man, like just swapping between them is like you got like max handling, like quick draw on both weapons, and you can just roll through people. I love it. It's such a good 180. I love 180s so much on controller.
Yeah, they do feel really good. Oh,
it's also worth noting that, I mean, we haven't really had too many good 180s except for posterity, and everyone has like a sour taste in their mouth because we had lightweights, right? Nobody used 180s back then. I mean, once Luna got nerfed and they just completely changed the archetype. But, you know, as the game went on and the meta shifts, a lot of people are using 120s. This ties the TTK of a 120, and then you can get multi-kill clip or kill clip.
Sure, yeah.
They fare a lot better in this sandbox, so definitely give it a try if you like. I've talked about 4 or 5 people that they said the same thing Drew said, that it's a 180, even if it has good perks, I'm never gonna use it. I'm like, it's right there right now, dude. It's right there. So
and they've been dropping like hotcakes, man. Like I just play a couple of games and like oh look, another new hand cannon. Like they just fall into your lap. They're not. I mean, yeah, the odds of you getting the perk combo that you want is relatively rough because numbers. But like, I don't know, man.
I swear this is like the most I'll have to say this episode, but to add on to like what you guys said,
you talk away, buddy.
Hey man, I love this.
Just talk away. You talk away.
To add on what cool guy said, yeah, a while ago we were talking about, I think 180s need some buffs. And I'd agree. Like, a slight little bit of a damage buff, the tiniest bit, so that they don't deal with that resilience gate as early. Like mid resilience right now stops 2 out of 2 body. If they get like a little bit of buff that makes like 7 resilience or 8 resilience the requirement for that, man, 50% headshot ratio with pinpoint recoil and like consistency like that, you're always going to hit 1 second. It has the consistency of the 120s, but the like further ease of use. And to me, that's what makes it feel like I'm feeling like I'm playing my best when I use those. The inherently high accuracy allows me to play with them like M&K players do with normal hand cannons, flying around and like, like not caring that they're in the air and shooting with precision. I don't get to do that with anything but SMGs, I find. And like, no, I mean, seriously, like with that archetype of hand cannon, I'm like, yeah, I don't care. Like I can be in the air. I have like unlimited free movement with that. And it feels awesome. Just
feels good,
so freeing and like, yeah, but unironically, like just more plays you can make. So, and then on top of it, to add on to all that, like the slow debuff doesn't hit them as hard, right? Because you have inherently higher accuracy. Yeah. So when you get slowed, you can actually, there's so many times where like someone slows me, I'm like, I'm still fighting you and I'm winning it because I'm able to shoot at you. Especially when you stack that with like 2 hand cannon targeting mods, and you like make that accuracy just crazy. It's nuts. And even with the high accuracy, like you could be outside of your like you can be outside of your optimal range, which is like 30 meters on a 60 range roll with that gun, and like you'll just still be pegging headshots. So it still performs not great at range, but decently. But I think it 4 taps with all headshots up until like 33 meters, 34 meters, which is fantastic. And you'll get those headshots at max rate of fire because of the accuracy. All right.
It plays around the damage resistance too, man. When people like glacier up or get the boost off the empowering rift or something, it's still consistent.
Yeah, I mean, it's got the 1 second TTK, but it has kill clip, multi-kill clip, and it's not act like there's 750 external damage perks in the game with hedrons and this and that.
Right,
like it's you can 3-tap a lot of the time with that gun. Set up the right way. So
yeah, really, really good weapon. I'm really glad to hear you talk about it that way, Drew, because I definitely had a moment where I was like 180 ew. And then my chat convinced me to use it on controller, and I was like, this is pretty good. I'm kind of feeling it right now.
Most consistent.
We love consistency around here.
We love consistent.
We love consistency. I was actually combing through Twitter for questions for today's episode, and I think I have one that would fit in really good right now from a good friend of mine, Serotonin, who wanted to know if someone had limited time to play, name one gun they should prioritize grinding for. So like not really pick only one, but like what would be the priority? Now I know it's going to be, maybe the more I'm thinking about it, it's going to be dependent on the player, right? Like, do they like to snipe? Do they like to play back? What do they like to do? But
I mean, yeah, this season has something for everyone. Hung Jury for scout users,
true.
SHIRA's for SMG, Grid Skipper for Pulse. Now, the Epitaph might not be your cup of tea, but it's for hand cannon users, right?
Let's say you're a PvP player and you can do it all. You can snipe, you can hand cannon, you can auto rifle, you can do all that crap. We got someone coming in, limited time. They want spicy new gun to bring into PvP. What would be your priority recommendation? There's much thought happening right now. That's how you know we take these questions seriously.
For any kind of player.
For any kind of player.
I'll say for PvE, you probably want to hit that ignition code.
Ignition code is
because it's a kinetic tube, so you can start doing double special combos again.
Yeah, not to mention the massive favoritism that grenade launchers have in the seasonal artifact.
And if you're going for that anyway, might as well get the PvP roll.
That's fair. Yeah. Ignition code, the kinetic grenade launcher, by the way. And like, Cammy, do you have one with slide shot?
Yeah, I have slide shot in that new danger close perk or whatever it's called.
Me too. Danger zone. Danger zone.
Top gun. Top deck.
Yeah. And slide shot. Yeah, you can fire off a whole bunch. Drew and or Cool Guy, any recommendation? If it was all on the table?
I'd say pound for pound, it'd be Grid Skipper or Chroma Rush, just because it's in the activity. You can focus it, and you can keep grinding for it. If you have limited time, you can go in and do that. There's a 6-man fire team, and you'll be okay. That and, Chroma or Grid Skipper, Void, it has Thresh. If you're a Warlock, it pairs with Nezarec Sen. It does well in the Crucible. Now, ARs might not be your thing, but as for a 720, Chroma Rush is really, really good. Otherwise, like, if Shira's Wrath ever comes back as a 3-win, just jump off the map. Like, try to get the 3 wins or get that token. Because that thing's really, really good, too.
Yeah.
That's what I'd say.
I would, if I had to pick my recommendation, it would be, I'm like patiently awaiting for Friday. If there's ever going to be a weekend where Shira's Wrath Adept would be on the table and you're a PvP player, I would prioritize that weekend to go for that over any other weapon. Because regular Shira's Wrath, I don't know about you guys, I really like that gun. It's
slaps.
It's really, really good. It's just got really good base stats. It feels good. Good time to kill. Good perk options. Looks good. I was really let down when we had like last weekend in Trials. I was like, oh, dude. 3 wins is the Wrath. Maybe they're going to follow that trend where whatever they have for 3 will be like the Adept. Because they've done that a few times, right? The same thing for 3 for Adept. I was like, let's fucking do it. And then what was it? Adept Messenger? Which to me is like one of the weapons I care probably the least about for the Adept version. I was kind of bummed about that. But that would be my answer. Shira's Wrath. Definitely worth the priority if it is around in Trials that weekend. Drew, anything? Are we still thinking about that beautiful hand cannon?
I want to say if I had to give like a pick for like that any player could probably be satisfied with, it's going to be the Grid Skipper. I think that I've been seeing that thing and I've been on the receiving end of it absolutely shredding. Got great perks. It's not exactly a crazy represented archetype. I know we have the Iron Banner one as well, but this one you can kind of get at any time. Like I said, unique perks, really high potential, seemed really good. Our friend Sides is a very good player who's using it, and he loves it. I've seen a few players really like it, so a weapon for any kind of player, I think that's the one.
Fair. There's plenty of weapons. I wrote everything down for those of you listening at home. I wrote everything, every new weapon, not VOG related, because as of the recording of today's episode, VOG has not come out yet. It's like, what, 3 days away? We'll cover that, I'm sure, at another time. But for right now, we got everything written down. There's a couple of guns we haven't gone over yet. Cammy, why don't we talk real quick about what weapons you feel like maybe not bad, but perhaps not filling the role that another weapon you already have might be filling already. Does that make sense? Like,
I want to add an addendum to the last question.
Sure.
Not a weapon that you get. The Warlock new exotic boots are nuts and boost every weapon in the game. So prioritize those.
Yeah, we'll talk about exotics now or
It's
later.
gonna
but
feel
we'll
borderline
talk about them.
necessary and
we're gonna
competitive, I
talk about
promise
them.
you.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about them.
All right, so weapons that are overshadowed by the current meta.
Sure.
Okay. Every scout rifle on that list, including the hung jury,
Yeah.
Dead Man's Tale is the superior option.
Oh God. Yeah.
It's not even close.
But
I
Cammy,
mean, there's the
it comes with box breathing though.
It's not even close.
Which is like.
And then I also have to consider I've been farming the Last Wish chest reset every single week for a transfiguration with Kill Clip Rampage because it's a
Have you really?
150 RPM that can 2-tap. I've never got it.
Wow.
And I would use that over every scout on the list.
Really?
Yeah.
150s are really good for dueling. I mean, it's gonna kill faster than the
about that.
120s have full map range
You've been doing that every week since when?
since it came out. I even had the free-to-play account that I ran them too, and it didn't get it.
Good
So,
Lord.
like, yeah, it's wild.
God damn.
It's almost like the spoil system from Deep Stone Crypt should be added to everything.
What an idea that would be.
Right, crazy.
We also have a couple other weapons that I'll quickly bring up, and if anything about those weapons strikes you, if you feel compelled to elaborate, just dive on in. We've got the Farewell sidearm from Override. We have the Shattered Cypher machine gun. We have the Null Composure ritual weapon. Actually, that might be worth a conversation. How do you feel about the Null Composure? Because I know how I feel about it.
It sucks.
There you go.
Like I said, I just call it null, as in invalid.
How about the
it's not good
composure?
in PvE. It's not good in PvP.
No, it's not good.
It's basically the kindergarten version of Loaded Question. Like that's how I look at it. Those need a huge buff. They need a huge buff. Yeah, it's not good.
It's like the Loaded Question calls up Null Composure late at night and just starts laughing and then hangs up the phone. Who is this? Why do you keep calling? Yeah, I keep saying it, man. The only family of fusion rifles that feel good to me are the high impact. If it's not that family of fusion rifle, it doesn't feel good to me. Like it has to have a cracked roll. Cammy, we ran into a guy on Stadia. Remember that guy who had the insane main ingredient roll, which I don't think you can get anymore.
That thing was wild.
And he was hitting from deep. And we had a conversation in Twitch chat about it. But like, I went through every main ingredient in my vault to try and imitate the feel that was used from him on me. And it just, none of the rolls felt good. I think with high frame, high impact, you can get away with having an imperfect roll. It feels a little bit better. But like Null Composure, and it's not hitting right for me.
There's no other archetype in the game that has that huge of a jump. Rapid fire frames do 37 per bolt, adaptive 38, precision 39, high impact 48. For whatever reason, 48. Like,
wow.
There's a huge balance that needs to go on right there.
Sure. I think
my
Drew
brother
mentioned earlier.
swears by main ingredient, by the way. So we're not
your
crazy
brother?
for. Yeah.
Does he have a cracked roll? He probably has like a super.
Yeah, he has
roll,
like a lot of them. He's actually disappointed he can't get new ones.
Right. Yeah. He took it out of the loophole. But like Drew was mentioning, which would be a perfect transition for the Iron Banner shotgun. I think there are multiple frames of like shotguns and other weapons that you're like, yeah, you know what? I'll give that one a whirl. But like for fusion rifles, for me, it's like, no, it's not high impact. No, thank you. Sit your ass down. Drew, is it Riz Walker? Reese Walker?
I thought it was Reese Walker.
Reese Walker?
But I don't know.
Reese Wither Walker? Something?
We just call it R-Dub on the street.
R-Dub? Call it the R-Dub. You heard it here first. Drew, you feeling good about that shotgun?
Yeah, I like it a lot. I think that it's an excellent lightweight shotgun. It gets some pretty insane range. And it's got some really useful perks. Hipfire is really interesting on that gun. I like to Hipfire shotgun a lot, and it makes it a lot more consistent at the hip, more akin to ADSing.
Is your game plan to like do a little damage? Oh, they get too close to me. Hot swap into shotgun, hipfire, finish them off. Not like the full deep range kills, more the like the back up off me, bro. I've already hurt you, finish you off type kill.
I mean, like sometimes I'll lead with it like that. A lot of the reason I like hip firing, and I still ADS with it, but a lot of the reason I like hip firing is because on controller you are very tied down by your ADS sensitivity when you start ADSing, and that can make you lose fights when you're like sitting there dragging to your target. It's like, oh, my setting was a little off for me to drag, and then okay, I'm dead. Especially when you're going against M&K players that can just flick to you and like snap to you. You're like,
they can turn quick.
And that's why they say shotgunning is not as good in controller. But if you get really good at hip firing, typically to me, I just don't think that you should be going for deep one-hit kills to begin with. It's like sometimes you're gonna lead with your shotgun because you're in an engagement space that's awkward for your primary, and you want to like get that damage on them and then clean up with your hand cannon. But a lot of times you want to prime them with your primary or your hand cannon, whatever you're using, and then swap to it and then clean up for that deeper one hit. So that's typically what I do, and you can do that with Hipfire Grip. I like that. Another perk that I really like that it gets is gets Demolitionist. I'm a big fan of that perk because I value my grenades a lot, and they're a big part of my playstyle.
Oh yeah, you do. Yeah, you surely do.
Especially the shadow dives. You know.
I've watched you.
Need my grenades all the time.
Drew's out here, goddamn, playing Fortnite, cranking 90s out here. He's building right up with the glacier nade.
I want to be able to use those nades in literally any room. I don't want any hesitation. Just like I think I could use it here, I'm using it here. So I love Demolitionist. It gets Iron Reach, so a lot of people are kind of freaking out about the fact that it gets so much range.
Real quickly, what role did you guys get on that gun? Because I feel like Bungie confirmed, right? No matter how many tokens you turn in, you're not getting another one. Oh, hey, look what we have here.
Hello.
We prayed hard enough, and the Excel spreadsheet icon turned into a real boy. And the sleeves are off. He's ready to go.
I appreciate that was the icon that you guys used for me while I was gone.
Of course, dude. We don't play around here.
Yeah, thank you. It was very accurate.
Yeah. There may have been comments about summoning you with talks of either cone talk or anime profile picture talk.
Then you would have gotten me on my cell phone, like in the middle of a bar with it held up like that, if I'd heard it. So I'm glad you guys didn't try that.
But I only have one right now. We're talking about the Reese Walker shotgun. The Reese Walker with the Iron Banner.
R-dubs.
The R-dub. I'm talking about the old R-dub.
You guys spend a bunch of tokens trying to get that before
I did
Bungie
not.
came
Thank
out
God.
and said...
I did not.
No, I didn't.
I did not.
Only my bounty tokens.
I have Quick Draw Iron Reach, which not too shabby, I'll tell you. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah.
I've
been
Hipfire, Unrelenting, Slideways,
Unrelenting,
and Surplus Demo.
Okay, fair.
I like the Surplus Demo the most.
I was gonna say Surplus Demo sounds nice.
That sounds pretty good, yeah. Cam, you got a shotgun there with a roll that is halfway decent, or?
It was so bad I deleted it on first sight.
That's
I only went for one of them. I'm trying to do my optimal pinnacle order.
Gotcha, fair enough. Merc, you got one?
No, I don't. I'm on the part of the quest where you have to get sniper rifle kills, and I was like, nah.
Cloud Strike, baby.
Yeah.
Get it done like one game. You get it done like half a game.
The only sniper I know is called Bastion.
Yo, Commander, permission to rant?
Actually, I found a new love. I'm now using Le Monarch with Oathkeepers on my hunter.
You filthy man.
Yeah, and it's every bit as wonderful as I hoped it would be.
You know, actually, my kryptonite.
The funny thing was I only did it because I was messing around with the transmog stuff, and I like found a look that was really good, and the only arms that looked good with it were Oathkeepers. And I was like, well, fuck. I was like, God, this looks so good. But I was like, okay, well, what can I use with Oathkeepers? And I was like, oh, I'll try Le Monarch. And then I was like, oh my God, this thing's amazing. So
top tier.
Yeah. So
you get that charge with light, high energy fire with the Monarch?
Yep. All the one taps.
Attaboy.
But actually I pair it with Messenger because they work at the same range. And if you hit them body shot or headshot with Le Monarch and swap to Messenger, you can one burst them. And it will kill them with the burn, pretty much like just across the board. So it's like it's like blinting, but instead of using a hand cannon, because hand cannons are, not my thing, using Messenger, and I have kill clip. So then I proc kill clip on Messenger, and then it's like, yeah, it's this real gross chain. So
it's an interesting combo. What happens if somebody gets within like 10 feet of you?
Le Monarch melee. So body shot
fair
does 100 plus burn and then melee. So you just Hipfire Le Monarch into him. Yeah.
I'm sorry. The correct answer I was looking for was Stasis Fallout.
Oh, yeah, it's
Stasis.
Monarch double shuriken, obviously.
Yes. Yeah. No. Shadow dive. I still shadow dive.
Claws of Ahamkara Penumbral Melee. It's GTFO.
My ass still hurts from that time I got lemon arced into skipnated. Like, you can't escape.
I was getting ready to talk about that, Merc. Sooner or later you'll graduate from Elf Keepers. Okay, when you do, you need to pair it with Shinobu's Vow. It's over.
We gotta get him to talk to our boy Time.
I used that earlier today, not because I wanted to, but because the quest required me to get arc ability kills, and I was like, okay, well, what's the easiest way to get arc ability kills? Shinobu's Vow.
Sure.
So I was like, okay, I'll try that. And then I was like, I like being able to hold my Le Monarch for literally 15 minutes and just walk around.
I can just picture Merc quietly walking down a lane. It's like, you guys, we need to capture territories. Go that way. I'm just don't mind me. I'm just
pay no attention to the man with the fully drawn bow.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of the zone bounties in Iron Banner. It's so anti-win.
The zone bounties. I just don't like any bounty that is like, play this way. And people are like, Fallout, why are you not getting melee kill? Or like, why are you not finishing that guy with your cracked Shira's Wrath SMG? Like, because I need melee kills, god damn it. Like, I'm intentionally shooting him within like 10 HP and being like, punch you. It's terrible. I hate it.
On the topic of the Reefwalker, I think two important talking points, and I want to ask about one. Now that Merc's here too. So like, firstly, people are freaking out about the massive range, but that doesn't actually change your one-hit kill range. So from what I saw, it was like a very, very maximum. Like, these stars align. 7 meters is your best one-hit kill range, and then after that, it just stops you from getting damage drop off on your pellets up to like 10-ish meters. What I saw, so it's not actually changing that massive range. At some point, like compared to like my 60s or so range roll versus like an 86 range roll, it was just like there was no difference in one hit kill range. It was just a difference in how much damage you retained on your pellets at further ranges, which is still important for like you put in chip damage and then you clean up, right? Like more likelihood of that kind of damage combo between a primary and a shotgun, which is great. But yeah, it doesn't change one hit kill range. Secondly, I did get a roll with Eye of the Storm. Eye of the Storm. So a long time ago, they changed the accuracy cone of the shotguns to make them standardized for each archetype, right? And they made it so that the range stat no longer affects that. The only things of my knowledge that affect it now is full choke, tightens it, right? Pellet spread. But does Eye of the Storm granting accuracy not do that? That would do that too, right? By definition?
In theory, it should, right?
Yeah.
Right?
In theory, it should. I don't know that it actually does, but I don't know. I also don't know that I've ever tested a shotgun with Eye of the Storm.
You know what?
I have either.
You'll know if it does because Eye of the Storm has an audio cue.
Right.
Oh,
well,
you might be right
about
that.
Activates,
Yeah.
but does it actually
we know that.
But
the shotgun?
Okay.
Yeah,
That should be pretty easy to test
or not.
Right?
Can you do the thing where you go into garden and then
Not on shotguns.
You cannot on shotguns. Yeah.
No?
That's why I
Shotguns
asked.
fixed
Like,
reticle.
It shows the
that's
same
rough.
thing.
Shotguns.
Oh, that's
It's fixed
whack.
reticle.
I'm willing to
all
test
you-
it the old-fashioned way. So
Yeah, just
let's
get
it
shot in
done.
a private match and shoot at a wall and see if the pellet spread is grouped closer together, like it is with full
Yeah, but
choke
you
or
have to
like
watch.
it is with-
You'd have to watch like multiple because pellet spread is random.
But
And
that
aren't
doesn't
the
You
sound
have to
pellet-
look at like
well,
10
doesn't it, like,
different
a larger
screenshots and be
sample?
like, see if you notice it consistently being tighter.
That sounds like
Right.
a
And
you
on top of
problem.
that-
Fallout.
Yeah, it really
Because-
is a me
There's
problem.
a
I've
chance
been
that could be like a
holding
decal
off.
type thing
A
too.
decal,
I'm
yes,
not
it's a
sure
sticker.
that is. So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we might need to just go really far range. Like what I would do, I think, is I'd get a player, go at ridiculously long range for shotgun, like 10, 11, 12 meters or something,
Sure.
and see with the perk at its full capacity, because Eye of the Storm has steps. It's like it kicks in at half health, which is awesome, and then it gets like slowly more potent, like 3 to 4 times as you get to like red health or like that red portion.
Shield
And
wall.
I would try and go to the red health portion, full activation, and then see how many more times I land more pellets, or if I land more pellets at that crazy range versus like not having it at all. I think that's how I would go about
that'd be a
that.
good test.
Yeah.
That sounds
really good.
tedious.
Does firmly planted
So Follow is our expert on shotguns.
I've been
And now that we have
intentionally
a
putting it
framework,
off.
I will
Yeah,
help you do it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll help you do
Bet
it.
audio proof. All right, good. Yeah, I'll do that. I've been waiting to get all 3 of them because right now I think we can only get 3 shotguns. Unless you want to delete a character and make a new one for a new
Oh, I'm
Iron
already
Banner
doing
shotgun.
Yeah,
Which
that's what I'm
are you
doing.
really doing that?
Yeah, I'm really doing that.
Cow, Drew.
All right, additional
I'm not
question.
doing that.
Okay, so there's a funny story behind this.
Yeah, Cammy, what's up?
Does the max range variant affect the Hipfire more than the medium range? Like, is Hipfire more affected by a big range stat than ADS?
No,
No, it's the
it's
same.
standardized. Oh wait,
Perfect.
no. Wait.
No. See, now I would assume
does.
it would be pushed out.
Because of how
It'd be
Hipfire
better.
works. Yeah.
No. I remember in the changes. So there's. I might be getting confused here. Please clarify for me.
Sure.
The range stat is no longer affected by ADSing by the zoom from ADS.
Correct.
But the cone angle is. Is that?
That sounds right.
That sounds right to me.
Okay, so I don't know how that was applicable, but
I guess
as
it's
far
one
as-
more thing to
as far as
test. So we have to
tightening.
remember do everything Hipfire and ADS. Done.
yeah. As far as tightening the
Great.
cone, yes, but like pushing out the range, no.
Oh, good lord.
So while we're talking about shotguns, is it cool if I talk about another one real quick?
Yeah, sure.
It's one that like I feel is getting 0 street cred, but I want to talk about a certain setup for it. It's that Sojourner's Tale. I probably butchered that. Someone help me.
Dude,
It's
I
the slug
can't
shotgun.
read
Yeah,
half
that's
of
right,
these
the
names.
slug.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So-
though, yeah.
What's crazy about this one? Like I think from the season pass it gives you moving target dragonfly. You don't want that. Wherever you are, you don't want that. But you know, it has auto loading, rapid hit, tunnel vision, threat detector, quick draw, moving target. Your heart's gonna tell you moving target or quick draw. But tunnel vision. Now, I prefer like heating up all day, every day on like every weapon over tunnel vision.
And we need to talk about that shortly, but go on.
But tunnel vision, check this out. Reloading after defeating a target greatly increases your target acquisition and aim down sight speed. So the handling stat of this thing is 67. It's pretty high for a slug. So we can put on dexterity. We can put on targeting for aim down sight speed and a little bit of target acquisition. But what's cool about this perk, say you land, like you want to pair this with opening shot. Say you land a headshot, it's a slug, so it'll chamber in 1. Right? So say you get a kill, you have double scab, you pick up 4 on the ground. You just chamber in 1, tunnel vision's on your screen. You're gonna have very fast lightning ADS speed with opening shot and increased target acquisition because of tunnel vision. Like it's like the easiest way in the game to get tunnel vision going. And I was like, I don't have the opening shot part, but the tunnel vision part, hitting slug headshots, it's unreal. It feels like Chaperone.
I was gonna ask, does it feel like Chaperone? Like,
It does.
Like, yeah, it'd be
It does,
insane.
dude.
I mean, opening
Interesting.
shot without, you'd get the increased range. It'd push it out to like
So and dude, like
non-exotic shotgun range.
I honestly believe that they saw this combination as the combination because when you look at aim assist stats for these slugs,
Yeah.
Blasphemer 61, Bone Chiller 61, Heritage 68, Soldier's Tale 35. It's like it's built to add all this aim assist on.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the way you put it like that, I was about to say back in the day there were kinetic rolls of all these weapons, and at first glance they seem kind of bad, but when you dig under, look at the cones and all that stuff, it makes sense the curated roll that Bungie chose. And so in a similar way, I think these perks like the Reese Walker, what's the one where you take the Eye of the Storm? The Eye of the Storm is probably going to be a meta pick in the future because it's the first time we're seeing it.
That might be true, yeah.
In this one, like I said, you get a headshot. If there's any ammo in your reserve, you just chamber 1 slug and it happens in an instant. And for 5 seconds, you're running around with this tunnel vision buff on it with opening shot. Like,
Do we know
try to
how
get that roll.
long the window is? Not for the window of tunnel vision being active, but how long you have to chamber a shot into the mag after a kill? Do we know?
I assume it's
Like-
like tilt.
Right. Like
Yeah.
if I shoot a guy in the head, like how long do I have to queue up and activate tunnel vision? Can I just hold on to it for like a minute? Like
no. Like, if say you have 1 in the mag and 10 in reserve. So
Sure, yeah.
basically, after that shot, you're gonna have to reload. the slug does 1 by 1 by 1.
Yeah.
The first one that you put in perks on the screen for 5 seconds. And
Sure.
It's like kill clip full up.
I'm just wondering. Okay, like kill. I was just wondering if I could delay it for like a full minute and be like, the opportune moment, red on the radar.
Oh, you're talking about like.
Yeah, you can't delay
like
it for a
holding
minute.
it, like
You're talking
saving
about
it.
few seconds.
Yeah,
Got it.
keeping it in your pocket literally until you need it.
You can drag and shadow it. So if you want quick draw.
Yeah, well, I think it's gonna follow the laws of like the kill clips. Like
would
you're gonna have
imagine
2
so,
seconds
yeah.
max or so for
well,
that kill. But it's like
fair.
I have one just with tunnel vision. It's insane, crazy.
That seems like a really good moment to. We have so much to talk about. I wanted to get to the new exotics too, but let's really quickly cover some of the new perks, not including the Vault of Glass weapon perks, because that's not out yet. There's a couple that I wanted to go over, but now seems as good a time as any. Why don't we talk about heating up? And even though he's already lighting up the mic, I want to hear more. Cool guy, you've been talking a lot about heating up.
Sorry.
Please talk to me about heating
I think
up.
it's one
Talk
of
to
the
the
best perks
people.
the game's ever seen, dude. I really do. Any weapon that, and like when I was talking with Merc about it in DMs before, and then I kind of showed him what it was doing. He's like, okay, I see it now. And then so what happens is, and a lot of people are kind of worried that it doesn't pair well with like kill clip and multi-kill clip. It pairs perfectly with that, and I'll get into it in a second. So before your gunfight, you have perks that help you before the gunfight. That could be your opening shot, right? Or the first engagement.
Sure,
Like
right.
moving target is all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Killing one
Rangefinder, yeah.
kill, right? So
Right.
it makes your gunfights after that first kill a lot better. So
Sure.
heating up's like that. As soon as you get a kill, heating up goes on the screen, and it works just it works like I'll broad term it. It works just like Eye of the Storm. Like it tightens your accuracy cone on whatever weapon that you're using. So like the finite impactor for the Iron Banner has it. It goes to heating up ×2, and same thing. The accuracy cone gets tighter, and Drew will say it like you take accuracy over anything in the game. Period.
Yes.
Accuracy wins. So it also gives a second bump to your stability and recoil direction. So like Grid Skipper is a perfect example because it will tighten the grouping of the burst. The cone is like it's wound so tight, man. It's like an eraser on a pencil. Basically, like that area is a vacuum for headshots. Like and that's how I put it in my video when I talked about it. To me, it's one of the strongest perks in the game. So if you pair it with like multi-kill clip, you know, you're gonna have like pulse reloaders for Grid Skipper. You're gonna get a kill reload. You're gonna have about 2-3 seconds, but like that is laser beam doing 29 to the head, and they're both chainable. So as long as you're getting kills and reloading, they're both gonna be on your screen. And like any weapon in the game that has it, I'm gonna like look for this perk first. And what's really good, the first perk node has always been kind of It's like, okay, we could use quick draw, we could use moving target, we could use threat detector. Like heating up's a very good solid option from now on in that first perk node. And like that's one of my favorite things about it, that they didn't put it in node 2.
How long is the activation window on heating up?
Instantly.
It starts instantly and it goes for almost 8 seconds afterwards.
That's what I meant to say. It goes for it's an 8-second duration.
seconds?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I timed it on my screen, right? So it's probably closer to 7 because I think that's what Desperado is, right? Like Desperado
That
is
is
7. That's what
insane.
cool.
I think Desperado is like 6
yeah,
or 7.
it's 7 to 8 seconds.
Wow.
So
That's
it's a very long time.
That's pretty generous right there.
You have more than enough time to reload any like ridiculously slowly reloading gun and still have it active for a few seconds after that.
That is
Like
very
fusion
interesting.
rifles getting that accuracy bonus plus the stability bonus and the recoil direction bonus. It's like,
Oh my god.
you know,
dude.
Fusion
like
rifles,
an
not
amped
named
up,
the Null
firmly
Composer.
planted, being mobile.
This is what I'm gonna have to do because they've only put opening shot on one fusion rifle ever, and it was a Scourge of the Past fusion, and it wasn't the curated roll; it was a random roll, and they've never done it again, right? Which makes me think that maybe they were like, oh shit, like we shouldn't have done that.
Maybe there's something to it. Yeah.
To me, because it increases the accuracy and it increases stability and it increases vertical recoil. To me, like this on a fusion rifle is like, you know, it might not necessarily be opening shot, which is just active on your first engagement, but like I feel like this will have a similar effect to opening shot, and all it will require is a kill. Like I'm on the hunt for heating up on the guns that I'm using. So
Yeah. I actually have heating up on my one of my SHIRA's Wrath SMGs, and that thing is quite tight, man. You get one, like, if I get that perk already on its own, it feels pretty reliable. But if I get heating up to kick in, I'm like, whoo, man.
That's also just a great
I don't
SMG.
It's terrific.
Yeah. People were like, oh, it's probably not going to be as good as multi-mock. And it was like, well, we'll see. But
I don't know, Mark.
Yeah, I don't know, Merc.
Drew has.
I don't know, Merc.
The multi-mock, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I'm sure you can have the multi-mock, but I think SHIRA's Wrath. Okay, so if you have to say like multi-mock has like the worst multi-mocks down here, the best ones up here. Like the worst SHIRA's Wrath is still a pretty good SMG. And then like you may be able to get a god rolled multi-mock that edges it out at the top edge. But like if you just want to say I want to use an SMG today right now, and you only get one chance at a roll, like I would take SHIRA's over pretty much any other SMG in the game, at least for controlling players.
That's a good way of putting it.
You know what, Drew? He's right. You can't argue with that.
I can't argue with the rolls, but I mean the potential. The multi-chad.
The multi-chad potential.
The multi-chad.
Versus SHIRA's Virgin or whatever. What's that meme of the Chad guy with versus that's awesome.
I will say I am interested in seeing what the Adept max range killing win variant of SHIRA looks like. Because I got that exact combo on a Messenger, max range killing win Desperado. And everyone in my chat was telling me it doesn't stack past 100. It does. That's a 51 meter 2-verse. That is wild.
Cam's like, oh really? Private lobby. Yeah.
It's conditionals, right? Like conditional perks are different than stat perks, and people always forget that. But they're like, there's a stat bar that you have, and the stat bar can only go so high. But most perks that are conditional, meaning they trigger on an effect, right? Like either going ADS or getting a kill or an empty magazine, most of those have a scaler that's applied with them. So most of those, not all, because I'm sure someone will find one that doesn't, and then they'll come in here and they'll tell me I don't know shit. But most of those will still benefit you, even if you have maxed out the stat for that bar, because the scaler will affect it. So,
any D&D players here? Cool guy, raise your hand. What's that one rule? Specific beats general. So yeah, you can have a general rule about something, but if you have a particular specific rule that is like, oh yeah, it can make it go even further beyond whatever it is on paper.
Oh, that's what I'm doing for the thumbnail when I get it.
Even further beyond.
Yeah, Super Saiyan range even further. No, but seriously, it's looking like on paper this thing's going to be pumping out 33, 34 meter kills on an SMG with kill clip, no drop off.
Yeah.
That's hand cannon distance. That's Ace of Spades distance. That hits hard.
So 1.7 times zoom, man. Like that's insane zoom for an SMG. That's pulse rifle zoom.
Very good. Yeah.
On an SMG, right? So
we've got Drew, what's up? What do you got?
I was gonna say that the thing, like the range is all cool and everything, but I think that archetype is like past its prime. And
it is.
I think that archetype, that precision SMG, it was popular because other SMGs felt unbearable with the recoil.
Yeah.
Valid. Right, and it had a reasonable rate of fire. It had a great range. That was obvious. Excellent range. But most importantly, it felt like it was controlable at good ranges.
Especially on controller, I think is worth mentioning.
Especially on controller. Right. Now, the 900 RPM SMGs and the 750s, they have two options, multi-chad and the extraordinary rendition, that have incredible range, comparable range. They actually only miss 5 meters against like the adept best roll of the new one, the SHIRAs. And they only miss about 5 meters, and they still feel very good to shoot at range. Not as easy, but I argue that hand cannons in that range are beating you anyways. They're either flinching you and killing your time to kill, which isn't good to begin with. It's 0.8 to begin with, and I think it's like 1.13 on the bottom end, so it's like not great to begin with. It's good, but like, still an SMG-ish auto hybrid, but it's not great. So the hand cannons will probably flinch you off or just play cover better at that range than you anyways.
You better be in open space.
Yeah, like you have to catch them in open space. And I feel like for the other SMGs, like they just do a better job at being SMGs, completely shredding. Like they both have a 0.67 optimal. With kill perks, they're just deleting people. they give you like the multi-chat gives you a lightweight bonus. I don't know. It's just like I'm missing too much for this range idea isn't selling me enough anymore. It's like, okay, SMGs are bearable and usable now on controllers. So like we have other archetypes that
Can I counter?
Be better. Yeah, go for
real
it.
quick.
Counter.
Consistency though, right? The SHIRA is a lot easier to use in the grand scheme. In the grand scheme, like the multi-mac that I have, I mean, it's got good base range and stability. It's got killing wind kill clip. I have a really good one. When you're landing with it, you're beaming and you're deleting. When you're not, people can catch you. Now the SHIRA, you can be a little lax, and it's still like it's gonna help you out a ton. You know, like I think it has a like we were talking about with the 180s earlier, like the hand cannons. Like it has an ease of use factor to it, right? I do think that the multi-mac has a higher floor or a higher ceiling, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's just better because like the consistency level with SHIRA, you could take that all day over something that you're not really reaching the ceiling all the time. So, I mean, regardless, they're both great. They're both great.
I agree.
Yeah, I like to point
agree.
out you can do a 0.9 second TTK, right, which is still faster than a 120 with 5 crits and 5 body shots with a SHIRA, right? So you can be not very accurate. And I know it's always going to be faster with a lightweight, right? Yeah. But that 5 meters that you talk about, again, we have to point this out, right? Like meters in game, like people think so 120s went from irrelevant to dominant with an 8 meter range buff and a 2-frame fast or a 0.07 second improvement on TTK, right? So it's not like all they got was an 8 meter range buff. But the moral of the story is they got basically what amounted to an 8 meter range buff, give or take with the perk combinations, yes, but the base is like an 8 meter range buff, right? 8 meters is a shit ton of distance in game. Right, like that is a huge amount.
That's
5 meters.
That's a like Felwinter range kill.
Yeah, like 5 meters is nothing to sneeze at when you say that is a distance, you know, that can make or break something. Because I was talking to someone about using 450s now over like Gnawing Hunger in terms of auto rifles, and I was like, well, honestly, like I would prefer my 7th Seraph carbine over a Gnawing Hunger at this point in time, because I can outrange a Gnawing Hunger easily, and I'm doing that in PvP right now. And they were like, well, it's only a 5 meter distance with this and this and this. And I was like, yeah, but go line that up and see what it looks like in game. 5 meters is an engagement window of its own, right? Like it's not necessarily something that's like half of a sidearm's entire range. That's like half of a Felwinter's entire range, right? Like it does make a difference. So you shouldn't just say like 5 meters and hand wave. I'm not saying you were doing that, Drew, but I'm saying I have seen people do it in game.
No, I saw him do it.
5 meters. That's
hand wave.
I just felt like it wasn't that 5 meters didn't justify the trade-offs. I feel
and Drew swayed me on multi-mock for sure. If I'm sniping with an SMG, multi-mock is the king because I have a snipe for every other distance. If I am tubing like grenade launcher, I want the SHIRA. That extra 5 meters matters.
You're also a very good player,
I love it.
too, Drew, right? So like you can engage with the skill ceiling of a multi-mock, right? Like you can net that highest level, but not everyone out there hits the skill ceiling of their guns, right? And then having a more forgiving, higher easy use, right? It's the reason people are using 120s right now, right? Like 120s don't have a super high lethality, but they are the easiest gun to use in the game, bar none, right? And so you've got a bunch of people out there who can't hit a primary shot to save their life, but all of a sudden they equip a 120 and they're gods. And it's like, well, you know, that's what happens when you step the ease of use of a gun up. You get a huge engagement window, you get crazy amounts of aim assist and bullet magnetism, and you make it to where it doesn't require 100% headshots to get kills. And you got a bunch of people who are, you know, pros now.
Yeah, I'm cooking up some mad scientist stuff with damage drop-off. I'm starting to experiment using the gun's damage drop-off to tell me exactly how far away I am from somebody, which tells me exactly where I can straight up 180 nade them to hit them behind cover, delay my nade, that kind of thing. And it does come into play, especially with stasis. That stuff is so free.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see
some
that.
of these guns are gonna have like very arbitrary range drop-offs, but when you're using nades like that, they're going to matter.
I noticed that Merc hates trials, by the way. Chat, everyone listening, all of you at home, he hates it, but there was a new SMG. I was like, Merc, let's get to 3 wins. Not gonna be too bad. Let's get this SMG.
Yeah.
He got it. He turned in the bounty, and like you had some like insane roll. You're like, yeah, it's heating up kill clip. And then
classic.
We played some control. I'm like, how's that SMG? He's like, I don't use SMGs. It's in the vault. I'm like, what? Because like it was an insane roll. I'm like, dude, just pull it out. Like pull it out.
So
Trust
great,
me. Like
dude.
it hits different.
So
It hits
good.
different. You got to use this SMG. So sure enough, on Twilight Gap, like 2 minutes later, he's like, okay,
All right.
That's
All
pretty
right.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
this thing's pretty
I'm
good.
feeling it.
Like, I don't dislike it. Like,
That's
no.
very funny.
I played a couple
not-
games of
not
that.
bad,
That's like the
sure.
highest stamp of approval I can give to something that's not a fusion rifle.
Jesus.
Yeah, I did want to say though, cool guy, and like all you guys, you're totally right. Ease of use factor and like that engagement window. That is the reason we're using it. Like pairing it with a shotgun or a tube and like ease of use. I totally agree. 100%.
If we have, I think we have 1 minute to spare before I leap into the next topic. If we have any other new weapon perks that we feel really compelled to talk about. I talked about the 2 I wanted to talk about most. We talked about tunnel vision and heating up, which I think are both great. There's only just a small handful of others. We have Firefly, Danger Zone, Cornered, and Adrenaline Junkie.
I want a primer for Adrenaline Junkie. If that ever rolls on a 120, I will probably use it. I got that Starfire
that
build, so just
do?
shoot him in the leg and throw the
My-
fusion. You're done.
What's the specifics of that perk? Will I?
Of Adrenaline Junkie, it's got
Yeah.
it's got like it isn't like Rampage. Am I remembering that wrong? It has
No, it's
multiple
20
levels
I
of.
think it's
I'm
in the
looking it
base-
up for you.
It's
I think
actually
it goes-
33%.
I think
and
it's
times
10 to
3.
20 to 30, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
33%.
Yeah, right. Okay, sure.
It activates in your back pocket. So like, say it's on the grid
Ooh.
skipper, but you have out a Shira's Wrath, right? Well, say you get a grenade kill, it's
Yeah.
procced. Like it'll be on your screen. So when you switch to grid skipper, you get that damage. It's not very
That-
good in PvP. In PvE, like, and everyone listening to, like, it's kind of a throwaway perk unless you have a grenade build. Like, put on sun bracers, go run a lost sector, start chunking out solar grenades, and it's good at that point because it's like I always tell people, it's kind of like it's a pocket weapons elite, pretty much, because like you can keep that buff pretty much the whole time on the weapon doing 33% more. Not the full 35 as weapons, but it's a pretty good damage buff.
So am I, just to understand, because I didn't know that pocket factor for the perk. So you're telling me if you have weapon A and weapon B, and weapon B is the weapon with Adrenaline Junkie on it, what
Correct.
happens if you have weapon A out and you get a grenade kill? You see it on the screen, but it won't take effect until you whip out weapon B with that.
No,
with that-
no,
with
like
the
the
perk on
timer
it?
starts. The timer starts and it's there.
The timer
for
starts no
duration.
matter what. Even if you
Correct.
have the weapon pocketed in your back pocket. And
Yes.
the weapon damage will
Oh.
clearly only apply to the weapon with that perk, right?
Yes.
I did not know that. That's pretty cool.
I didn't know that either.
That's
That is
cool.
kind of interesting.
I mean,
But
I
yeah.
could be
Fallout's
completely wrong,
seen-
but I'm pretty about 90.
Okay.
Wouldn't that be really interesting if the Adrenaline Junkie just applied to any weapon that you had?
I was gonna say Fallout's seen
Maybe
my
you could
Starfire
activate it
build.
with-
I get fusion nade kills frequently, and it's a
does,
10-second damage boost. That's nuts.
Exactly. It's kind of like Master of
That's
Arms.
Really?
Like think of it like
fair.
Master of Arms.
Yeah, you leg somebody, throw the fusion grenade, and then that's 10 seconds of
That's
rampage.
pretty good.
That's
Yeah,
really
on a
cool.
120 RPM hand cannon, that is.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting
that's
for.
not nothing. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, all right, why don't we screw it? I'll move on to exotics. We got 3 new pieces of exotic armor. We got a Titan armor, we got Warlock armor, and we got Hunter armor. And
I'll say it. I'll say
yeah,
it. I
say
can't
it.
believe the Titan
Say it.
armor works on Behemoth.
I was so shocked to learn that it works on Behemoth. Come on. I feel like that's silly, right? Isn't that silly?
Okay, I'm gonna make a plea right now.
Make a plea.
What those perks do, or what those boots do, that perk, the
Mhm.
first part of it, make it universal for everybody.
Talk to
As
him,
far
cool
as
guy.
breakouts. As far as breakouts. Let's
Tell 'em.
start there. Let's start there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so I'm like pun totally not intended. I am hot and cold on the Titan armor.
Oh my god.
It
too.
just
Oh
came to me
Are
when I was
you
thinking
fire
of it.
starter hot or cold snap cold?
I'm hot and I'm cold, you know. I'm yes, then I'm no. I'm in,
So-
then I'm out.
No.
Let's first talk about what the perk does.
Sorry. Yeah. If you're touched by any stasis at all, anything, you get that damage buff, right? You get the damage buff. And is there another factor to it I'm forgetting?
When you're
I think
frozen in
there's-
breakout, you do AoE damage.
Correct. Thank you. Right.
And then solar weapons sometimes get rampage.
Which we were live testing. I think all of us were live testing it the day the armor came out. And I don't know about you guys, but it was in
2 or 3.
between 1 every 2 kills or 1 every 3, kind of going back and forth a little bit, like relatively inconsistent. Definitely not every other kill every time. Sometimes it was like, oh, 3rd kill, and it would kick in. But yeah, that is the Titan armor, kind of in a nutshell.
Stasis police.
Yeah, pretty much. And there's things about it I love, and there's things about it I don't love. I would have loved if that Titan armor was around during the incredibly overpowered Duskfield Shuriken era, because damn, that trash was everywhere, and now I'm seeing more and more glacier grenades, and I'm seeing more and more... If I get frozen in PvP, like, it's over. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty much over. There are going to be times where randomly maybe a cold snap will fly way across the map, like, but normally, especially in 3v3, if I get frozen, it means I'm about to die. There's very few people who let a frozen enemy go these days. Meaning in those situations, like if I'm up close against a Warlock, Claws of Ahamkara, Penumbral Melee, I'm not getting that damage buff off. I'm really not. It's turned into a situation where I'm really on the lookout for maybe a couple things. I'm on the lookout for any Duskfield grenade, because if you walk in and out of it repeatedly, every time you put, it's like, what is that kid song? The Hokey Pokey. You put your left hand in, you put your left hand out. Every time you go in and out of the Duskfield, it raises the damage output on the armor. And I'm looking for rogue shurikens to walk into. And the Bleak Watcher Shadebinder turret, which is now back on the table. So if you get tagged by the slow, that's like a free activation right there. But if I'm frozen, I'm pretty much guaranteed that I'm not going to get the damage, I feel, because I'm about to die. Do you guys feel differently, or is that kind of like on par with your experience?
I don't know. I'm just sick of it.
Of stasis.
I'm just, yeah.
I mean,
I think everyone is. But like I said, I mean,
tiring.
I wanted to start there. Like with what that perk gives, give that to everyone. I mean, the perk alone, getting damaged just by getting hit with something you're gonna get hit with, literally every game you play, to get free damage. Like that's enough.
It was nice to have it in my back pocket when I played Trials this weekend, because it's kind of like my break glass in case of triple Revenant button. You know what I mean? It's like I'm going in with my Titan. I'm wearing the Titan Rampart or whatever, and it's like, oh, we got like double Revenant or something like that. Okay, the boots are coming on right now.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say. It's a conditional pick for me.
It is the conditional
You
pick.
see Chaos Reach, your Dune Marchers are back on.
Of course.
And I gotta say, I have underrated that Titan melee as an offensive tool. People throw me off so much with it when they just roll the dice and say,
Shiver Strike?
I'm flying in. I don't care if he might have a shotgun around the corner. Yeah, that Shiver Strike will hit me into a wall and Architect immediately.
Yep.
Very good.
And I'm stunned that they even think that that's an option in the situations people go for it.
But that's what makes it work, right? Is like literally, you're like, there is no way
Only
this
an
person does
insane
it.
person.
And then they do it, and you're just like, wow. Yeah, it's like the trained swordsman doesn't need to be scared of the professional.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. And every time I'm stunned, and I have to say
that.
Should I just keep my shotgun out 100% of the time?
I mean,
yeah, the answer is yeah. If
yeah.
I'm in a hand cannon, like Jiggle Peek a corner, when I go back in, shotgun's out. Doesn't even matter if they're far away.
Yeah.
I have a round of Trials of Osiris versus 3 Revenants, and every opening, like
Fun.
first I was like, okay, I had Titans on, but like literally at the end of Endless Veil, they would just throw 6 shurikens down there. So I put on the police boots, and I was using Borealis, and I'd switch it to solar.
Yes.
So I do have a
Drew.
round of
That's
me
insane.
getting hit by 2 shurikens and then bodying their entire squad. So
That's awesome.
I bet that felt like emotionally like cleansing. You
I'm like,
probably felt
no,
really
I was
good
like, this is just all kind of dumb. But yeah,
okay. I mean,
So this is
also fair.
entirely unrelated to this, but talking about trials, can we talk about how the only rounds I'm good at trials are when we're playing a team of Bastion users and I can just wipe the floor with them?
yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, because I've used Bastion
What do
so
you-
much that I know exactly how to counter it. So I use Glacioclasm and just mop the floor with Bastion users. And I'm like, 0.4 KD, 0.6 KD. We play a team of 3 Bastion users, 10 KD. Lead the team. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, yep.
I'm
Easy as
imagining
I can
PvP.
only imagine
that scene from Ocean's 12 or 11 or something like that, where the dude's jumping through the wires, except it's all bastions.
Yeah.
I was
That's Merc.
picturing Merc with and it works because Merc is kind of jacked too with the Bane mask on, being like, oh,
Yeah.
you think Bastion is your ally.
You really adopted the Bastion, but I was born by it.
Yeah, they need to give heating up as a Bastion catalyst.
No.
Oh god, let's pump the brakes on that one there. CG. God
On
damn.
the topic of the Titan boots,
Yeah.
I think those boots are really interesting, yet like, they almost hit it out of the park for me. They do a lot, like an extraordinary amount. I think that maybe you could do without the, hey, I got a solar kill, every other kill or so get a damage boost, but fine, right? Let's ignore the fact that it does a whole bunch, a little bit of everything. To me, the problem with that exotic is that it's super interesting that it's kind of like your tech card, is what I'd call it if I'm using the common Yu-Gi-Oh terms to relate to things. It's like something that's incredibly strong, but it's such a specific count. And it only rises in popularity if the meta calls for it. So it's like there's a lot of stasis in the meta. Hey, usage is going to go up. Not so much stasis, usage goes down. So it's like kind of like that. My problem with that exotic, though, is the fact that it works on stasis, which makes it so degenerate, in my opinion. Because it's not like, okay, I'm playing a light subclass and you're playing stasis, so now I'm going to punish you. It's now, it becomes, haha, my stasis is better than yours. That's really degenerate.
It's kind of true.
Like,
That is on point.
But then I was thinking about
storage
that, Drew, and I'm totally on board with what you're saying, like 100%. But I envisioned this funny situation where you have like behemoth titans in PvP and trials against each other, and one of them is like, I'm putting on the boots to punish your stasis, and the other one is like, I'm putting my boots on to punish yours. It's like they're like punishing each other.
I don't know. I think that it's just it becomes degenerate when you can run stasis to like stop other people's stasis. I think it's an exotic that should really encourage light subclass usage in the meta, and kind of bring that balance, like that super cool tech to stop like a really common powerful meta option right now, instead of just like I said, I'm just gonna throw mine without penalty and you're gonna suffer a penalty on yours. I don't like that. Yeah, there was something else about the boots, but I forget. Anyways, I think that could have, if they made it only for light subclasses, it could have been so cool to see how effective the game.
Does that affect behemoth versus behemoth fights when they're like RT slamming each other? Is the breakout even faster?
Maybe. No, the breakout's not faster, but I think
the breakout is not faster,
right, against each other, which is really
and
funny.
You don't take the damage of the breakout.
That is true. You break out for free with no health, which should be the case anyway.
It's so funny you said that, Drew. Like, my stasis is better than yours. Like, imagine like you staring someone down, you both have the boots on, and like you both get hit, and then like you look at them, and then you throw your glacier grenade on the ground, then you have DR, right? It's just don't get swag.
I mean, what's really cool about that though, and why I think it's such a very cool exotic as well, is because it makes you think about how to use your stasis if you are playing stasis. So, not to scatter around everywhere. Follow. You said that you swap to it, right?
Yeah, I do.
When you see stasis, I got complaints in my chat or community. They're like, oh, when they see I swap to it, they just swap off stasis. You gotta make them commit to it, which is another. That's
a win.
Another Yu-Gi-Oh type thing you can do to them.
Right there,
is make them commit, play around, and make them play their stasis. Then swap onto that and make them lose their super if they swap.
That is rough.
No, I like the opposite. Make them take it off
like
first. Then switch to Dune Marchers.
Make them commit to something and then punish them really hard. They have to decide on losing their super or now thinking about how they use their stasis. They can't blindly throw shurikens at you anymore. Maybe
That
you know
is true.
they're going to be less punished, but you're going to really challenge them to actually think about their stasis usage, which is the good part of that exotic. It's very cool.
Sure.
I wish that they did those as an ion set. I really do. Like each subclass has it that you can slot in, because let's be real here. I mean, there's like 3 total PvE enemies that throw stasis at you, right? So I really wish that all subclasses got it, but here we are.
And they could have done the element
But here we are.
buff, arc buff.
Yeah,
It would have been interesting.
they're really strong.
But anyway, maybe Bungie is testing the waters on that. My feedback, thumbs up. But we have precious little time and 2 more exotics to cover. We've got the Warlock armor. I don't know if you guys have done a lot of fiddling with the Warlock armor. I'm a big fan. I really enjoy it.
PvE and PvP.
PvE and
It's an
PvP.
awesome exotic.
It's very good.
It totally negates Sanguine though.
It does a lot. Yeah. To like a comical degree. I actually tweeted that out, that like, yeah, this totally makes that worthless. And one guy was like, but solo content though. Like, okay, great. Yeah, solo Warlock players have 1 exotic to cling to. But plus side, it makes you look like a vampire. Cool. Yeah, the boots are really good. I was doing trials and every round that I could. So what was it was oh god, what's the name of that map?
Endless Veil.
Thank you. Endless Veil. And you know how a lot of people rush either to try and lock down B right away, or they go for that mid lane for that like immediate challenge, right? That cross map challenge. So right at the beginning, I don't even push towards B. I got the 2 homies running towards B, 1 in each direction. Because if you have them kind of like linked shoulder to shoulder, the buff is like, it's stupid. It can get confused. Like it can only hit one guy get blocked. So both the homies were going on predetermined routes to the middle. And I dropped the Empowering Rift right away without even moving. And then both of the little power-ups hit them right as they are reaching that mid lane. So we have the opening lane challenge with the empowering buff damage. It's like a great way to open up trials and challenge lanes. It was super, super helpful. And then like, you don't have to commit to it, because I know that if you stand in it for a long time, it's really good, especially in 6v6, because you keep the Rift going forever. It's very, very powerful. Can't wait to use it in Iron Banner next week. But yeah, for that opening lane, even though you're using it for that 1 quick challenge, great exotic for PvP.
I think it's overpowered.
You do?
Way overtuned.
Yeah. It's very good. Yeah.
The second someone third person peeks, it's over. Because they don't have to stand in the rift. They wait till your back's to them, and then they leg you with the snipe or something. You gotta up your resilience to 8 or 9.
Very good.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Question, Cam.
Mm-hmm.
Does the noble round give you both the damage buff and health? Like
no.
Yes. The noble round, if you're using Lumina, will. If you're pairing the boots with the Lumina exotic hand cannon. So Drew, here's what it works. If you stand in the rift will imitate whatever buff you have on. So if you have the healing rift, it sends out a heal orb. If you have the empowering rift, it sends out the empower orb. If you have the Lumina hand cannon and you are standing in the rift, you just wait like 5 seconds. It's not very long. You can get up to 5 free noble rounds, which normally you need to get by killing people with your hand cannon. You get 5 for free. And when you, yeah, and then it just works
Drew,
like
I'm
a
not
noble
joking.
round.
What? They're overpowered.
So I was literally, if you watch it, dude, I did a video review of the weapon, and we included live footage of me and the boys running into 6v6 with it. So I had the Lumina hand cannon and a frozen orbit with high impact reserves. So you get the 5 free noble rounds. You can leave the rift. And you just wait to see red on the radar, boop, hit teammate with a noble round, and now I can shoot you in the kneecap with frozen orbit for 1 hit kill up to like, I think it was like 8 Resil or something like that. It was
because of the Emperor.
That sounds ridiculous.
Yeah,
that
Drew is
very
infuriating,
strong.
man.
Very
they
strong.
Fortress up in their spawn, and you're waiting on the zone, right? Thinking like,
Yeah.
oh, well, we'll just fortress up here, and then you get body shot by everybody. Oh. because they're third person.
Very good.
There's entry with that.
Yeah.
Like, hey guys, let's start with the damage buff. Huzzah!
If you're not using it, you're playing at a disadvantage.
And
does it take your Starfire usage?
Huh?
Cam?
Yeah, I would take it off
usage?
over any exotic. Yes,
Very
because
good.
you just swap Geomag because they're boots.
Right. I was doing that. I was swapping for Geomag.
There's new fragments, if I'm saying that right. I think fragments. So you can kind of make some like what are those called? The little remnants that the stasis crystals live
Harvest.
behind.
Yeah,
Shards.
the overshield
shards.
one with Rhyme.
The shards. Okay,
Yeah,
you
the
can
shards.
shard team builds that like I told Cam about that I kind of wanted to do, where like you can have a Titan put down a nade, break it, you all get overshields from it, and then like I don't know, like there's a bunch of different things that you can feed with it, but like basically start around with overshield and you combine it with like that exotic and Lumina, you can start with overshields and damage buffs.
Yeah,
like literally
you
off the start of a round.
And this is what has led me to believe that Last Word is overrated. Like, I don't think it's good because of all these damage buffs and damage resistance things popping up. You have to use the whole magazine on one person.
Good God.
That sounds frightening. If you
It
face
is frightening.
drops a rift,
It's horrifying.
drops the whole overshield fragment thing off the shards, and enters not only with more health than you, but more damage than you.
It'd be 2 Heart of Inmost Light Titans throwing glaciers.
I should mention, Drew, that I should mention that if you're in the rift that you create via the Warlock exotic armor, it will every time a round, an empowering round finds a target, the rift timer freezes in time and will not continue to degrade for another 10 seconds. And that will continually refresh. So you can essentially have like a permanent rift. And your next rift, your backup rift, even if I'm keeping Rift A alive and I'm like feeding all my teammates, Rift B is already recharging, even though Rift A is like out on the field. It's very good. It's very good. And speaking of good armor, why don't we close out with the new exotic hunter armor, which I'm sure Cool Guy can tell everybody all about. Cool Guy, would you disagree with me if I said maybe some of the best PvE armor to ever be a thing in D2?
Yeah. I think it's possibly the best PvE armor in D2.
Really good.
It's definitely top 3 just out of the gate, but
yeah,
as far as your usage and how that works is any hunter subclass, anytime you pick up an orb, like it gives you double super energy for the orb. And there are different types of orbs, like the Heart of Inmost or the Crest of Alpha Lupi Titan. They drop big orbs. It's double. Yeah. And that's a PvP strat that you can do. But it's for PvE. And as you get it, you get Feast of Light times 1, 2, 3, and 4. Each one is 15. So it's 15, 30, 45, and 60. So you get a max 60% buff. And how it works, and actually like going even further, is as long as the overshield's on your screen at times 4 feast, it doesn't matter what super you have, you get more weapon damage too. Yeah. So you can debuff with a tether, you can get a debuff, have Weapons of Light from a Titan, get a buff, and then you can have your weapon damage buff, whether that be Argent Ordnance, Godslayer Warhead rockets. So like essentially you're doing almost 3 times damage yourself on a target. Your teammates can't have that. It's just you. But like even with Golden Gun, you can do your 3 shots, and for about 6 seconds, 7 seconds, all of your weapons do 60% more damage until that overshield is gone. Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's like a 14-second timer,
and it doesn't necessarily nullify. Remember we were talking about Sanguine. Kind of being stepped down because of the assembler boots. What are they called?
The Boots of the Assembler.
Yeah, Boots of the Assembler. Like, Nighthawk is still good for quick chunk damage. It still has a place, even though this outdamages it. Like, bottom tree times 4 feast, 3 headshots. And actually, if you have like 3, 4, 5, 6 of those gunslingers, bottom tree, every time you get a headshot, it drops 2 orbs. And everybody's doing it together in a tight little spot. You just keep feeding each other and can keep doing it.
Yeah. And just a quick... if it wasn't good enough already, you mentioned that the weapon damage buff will last until the overshield goes away.
Yes.
It actually, it's on a timer. So your overshield can deplete, and you will still have the weapon damage.
It's like 13 total seconds or something
it's
like that.
It's like 13 or 14. It's really, really good.
You could even switch to Bacchus and get the Bacchus buff. Like
you can, yeah, you can, because Destiny allows that. Like you can literally pop your super with that hunter boot armor on, quickly open up your guardian, switch, change to Bacchus, and then you get that arc weapon damage crap. It's very, very wild. It's really wild.
It makes bottom tree tether, top tree tether. It makes, stasis, the stasis kit itself.
Yeah.
Using all those fragments and hedrons and all that, then having that as your super, it's really good.
Yeah.
Really, really good. Except for Blade Barrage, that still sucks.
Blade Barrage is trash. God, I hate that class so much.
Please buff Blade Barrage.
Please buff. Please remove hunters from the game.
You don't mean that.
I mean what? No, of course I don't mean that. And I wouldn't have any class to rag on. Quick show of hands before we go. Who is doing VOG day 1? Anybody? Yay?
Yes.
I plan to. Like, I'm in the middle of closing on a house.
Yes.
That's right, you are. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah. Merc, no VOG for you? No VOG?
I've only run VOG like 3 times in the entire day of Destiny. I was not a multi. I did not have other people to play with back in year 1 of D1. And so I did not get into raiding until around the time Age of Triumphs came out, and then I had found a clan.
Wow.
So I ran VOG as I needed it for Age of Triumphs, but I didn't run it like multiple times until that like very, very tail end of it.
A lone wolf.
Yeah, I have rated significantly more in D2 than I ever did in D1. So VOG will actually be not a new experience for me, but it will be newer than I think for a lot of the D1 veteran players out there.
Fair enough. Well, as is tradition, we only had time for one question this week, but that's okay because we had so much to talk about. It's the thick, rich, juicy content that we're out here sinking our teeth into. I swear we don't do this on purpose. Maybe I do. In the future, I promise you, there will be time for. I do save all the questions everyone hits us with on a big chart here. So we will get to that in the future. Definitely also stay tuned to the future for possible special episode of the show. But I can't say anything beyond that. I like to keep it mysterious. But before we go, we're going to go around the table, have everybody tell you where you can find them when they're not here on the show. Cammy, where can the people find you?
At CammyCakes YT on Twitter, CammyCakes Gaming on YouTube, and twitch.tv/CammyCakes. Thank you.
Cool Guy, where can the people find you?
Cool Guy Games on Twitter and YouTube, and I am Cool Guy Games on Twitch.
Drew, how about you?
YouTube, Drewsky's channel, Twitch, Drewsky's, Twitter, Drewsky's channel.
Merc, where can the people find you?
The Destiny Massive Breakdowns podcast and Mercules 904 on Twitter.
And I'm Fallout. You can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/FalloutPlays and twitch.tv/FalloutPlays. Thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate all of you, and we will catch you next time. Boom. All right, audio done. But we are live on Twitch. Oh, we are live on Twitch, baby.
Dude, I think that Season Despiser is one of the strongest starts to a season, just in my opinion. And it's not like
aside from day one.
Yeah, it's not like not even honeymoon. Like it's actually good. Like the loot's good. The exotics are really good. I'm having a really good time this season. They've done a good job in my eyes.
Who are we gonna raid at here?
Myelin is on.
Myelin.
Amaze.
Epic Wormy is a really good friend of mine that's a relatively small streamer.
Who?
Epic Wormy. He's part of Encore.
Oh, I know that guy. Don't you play PvP with that dude?
Yeah, I play PvP with him. He's trying to get
I'll vote for that guy. Is he's small on Twitch?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get him to medium status, bro.
Sick.
What is the I'm looking for in the directory?
I put it in there.
You did? Epic Wormy. You're still alive. Oh my god, we are?
Let me double check. It says he's live here, but sometimes.
Yeah, we're doing it. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Go share the love with Epic Wormy, and we'll catch you in the future. All right, later.